following is a presentation of Major League Baseball International. Crisp October day in Seattle, Washington. MLB International Productions presents Game 1 of the American League Championship Series between the defending world champion New York Yankees and the winningest team in Major League Baseball this regular season, the Seattle Mariners. That is a jam-packed Safeco Field here in Seattle. Good afternoon, everybody. We welcome you to the ballpark. Great to have you along. I'm Dave O'Brien, along with my partner, the former National League Cy Young Award winner, Rick Sutcliffe. Looking at this game, Rick, I think most people agree. The World Series champion could very well come out of this series, not just the American League champ.
Well, and why wouldn't you? Because the last 3 years, the world champ has come out of the American League, being the New York Yankees. Seattle this year won 116 games. They have been to talk all year long. But both of these teams faced elimination. And for the Seattle Mariners against the Cleveland Indians, they were shut out at home in Game 1. They were blown out on the road in Game 3, down to their final 9 outs when finally somebody stepped up. It was Mark McLemore with a 2-out, 2 RBI single that kept this year from ending in failure for the Seattle Mariners. They were able to endure with a terrific start by Jamie Moyer. They were tough, and as Lou Piniella said, the difference this year, they are not a team that can be intimidated.
So it proved to be a spectacular series. 5 games. Ichiro Suzuki hitting .600, the Japanese sensation, going 12 for 20 in that series. Right now, let's go down to the field and public address announcer Tom Hutler as we have a moment of silence and then the national anthem.
Thank you. Now, welcome some very special guests, comprised of members of the United States Navy, performing God Bless America and our national anthem. Please welcome Navy Band Northwest.
Our national anthem performed by the United States Navy Band. And a beautiful day in Seattle. Temperatures in the 50s, plenty of sunshine. It's the Mariners and the Yankees in game one. In a moment, we'll give you a look at how the Yankees got here to the American League Championship Series. Quite a baseball palace here in Seattle, Washington. Seattle led the majors in attendance this season. Over 3.5 million fans showed up. Some 43,000 plus watched every Mariner home game at Safeco Field, where they were rewarded with a major league best 57 home wins. Awfully tough to beat on the home diamond. Temperatures in the 50s today, plenty of sunshine, and the roof is wide open. Let's get to the lineup of the New York Yankees now. Chuck Knobloch will kick it off. He's in left field. And Rick, he is one of several Yankees who hit today's starter Aaron Seeley very well.
Well, Aaron Seeley's main problem, though, is going to be 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. The left-handed power of the New York Yankees. If he can keep them in the ballpark, he should have success. And you get to the 6th, 7th, and 8th inning, you know manager Luke Piniella is going to bring in one of his 3 left-handed relievers.
The Yankee starting lineup brought to you by MasterCard. Defensively, the Seattle Mariners are the #1 ranked defensive unit in the American League.
John Olerud, first base, USA.
Brett Boone, second base, USA.
David Bell, third base, USA.
Carlos Guillen, shortstop, Venezuela.
Jake Buhner, outfielder, USA.
Mike Cameron, center fielder, United States of America.
Ichiro Suzuki, right field,
Japan. Dan Wilson, catcher, USA.
Well, Mariner domination of the American League was really astounding during the regular season. Seattle ranking first in hitting, fielding, pitching, pinch hitting, relief pitching, you pretty much name it. And they did very well against the Yankees head-to-head as well. The Yankees with 95 wins, hitting .267. Look at Seattle at .288 pace. Tops in the AL and 116 wins. Both teams, Rick, like to steal bases.
They do like to run, and they do like to run early in the ball game. You get the lead through 6 innings. Seattle finally figured out what the Yankees have known the last 5 years. If you can shorten the game, you're going to win more games. And with both of these teams and their strong bullpens, it's a 6-inning ball game. Whoever has the lead going into the 7th will normally win.
The Mariners beat the Yankees 6 out of 9 times this year. Then again, Seattle won the season series against all 17 opponents they played in 2001. These clubs have met twice before in the playoffs. Seattle winning a 5-game division series in 1995. That was one for the ages. New York taking the American League Championship last fall by 6 games. And the Mariners take the field in a brilliant sunshine.
Well, part of the reason last year the Yankees were able to beat Seattle is because their average age limit was closer to 30 than it was 40. They have matured now. They are a veteran club.
Lineup for the 3-time defending world champion Yankees, brought to you by Kia. Leading off playing left field is Chuck Knobloch. Derek Jeter, the shortstop. David Justice, the designated hitter. Bernie Williams in center field. Tino Martinez at first. Jorge Posada behind the plate. Paul O'Neill in right. Scott Brocious at third. Alfonso Soriano, the Yankees second baseman. Against a veteran right-hander, a 15-game winner during the regular year, Aaron Seeley.
Hey, look at the record for Aaron Seeley at 15-5. Got off to a great start this season. Struggled a little bit in the second half and has struggled in the postseason. Look at the scouting report for Aaron. I'll tell you what, a lot of people say don't fall in love with one pitch, but Aaron Seeley has to fall in love with his curveball. He's got to get a feel for it early and throw it a lot. He's got to spot that fastball in and out, up and down in the zone. And a lot of people think that Aaron Seeley's soft. He had that reputation when he played with the Boston Red Sox. I played with him there. He is not soft. He is a competitor. He will go out there and compete.
Take a look at the defense behind Seeley, the #1 ranked defense in the American League. Buhner getting a start in left field. Cameron in center. Ichiro in right. Ichiro will more than likely win a Gold Glove this year. Boone has done that already with Cincinnati in '98. Carlos Guillen activated for this series. He had been suffering from tuberculosis. Did not play in the division series. Bell and Olerud on the corners. Seeley and the veteran Dan Wilson behind the plate. They pronounced Carlos Guillen set to go after working out here yesterday, and we are set to go in game 1. And Chuck Knobloch, first pitch, swinging base hit into right center field.
This is a great sign for Chuck Knobloch and the Yankees. Kind of went through a dry spell late in the season, but during the postseason, Knobloch done a pretty good job of being the catalyst on that team. That's just a fastball right down Broadway that he hits the other way. The problem for Chuck Knobloch a little bit lately is he's gotten a little big, thinking that he can hit the ball out of the yard. He only hit 9 home runs this year. This is what he has to do in order for the Yankees to go.
Now Derek Jeter during the postseason, 8 hits, 18 at bats. But of course he'll forever be remembered among many other things. And he swings and misses strike 1 for what is being called simply the play. Game 3, preserving a 1-0 lead. The shovel feed on the missed cutoff throw from Shane Spencer to cut down Jeremy Giambi at the plate, and a 1-0 Yankee win, and then giving his body up in foul territory, tumbling into the stands in game 5. That ball driven hard into left center field. Cameron will go get it. 1 away. This is very much a pitcher's park.
When you think of some of the reasons why some of the great players for the Mariners have left town, King Griffey Jr. and A-Rod, both of them have said that, you know, the fact that you can't hit the ball out of this yard was one of the factors. This is a big outfield. The ball does not jump here, and that will benefit the pitchers. Aaron Seeley, in that case, throw one right down the middle. Let's see how far you can hit it, and I'll let Cameron run it down.
Especially this time of year. They get rain regularly here during the wintertime, especially the early fall now. Rained all day yesterday. They're calling for rain later today. So you mix about 54 degrees along with some damp air. You grew up in this part of the country.
This is the Pacific Northwest, my friend. It rains 9 months out of the year up here, and we love it.
David Justice looks at a strike. Justice only 3 of 13 in the division series. Already having words with home plate umpire Ed Montague over that strike 1 pitch. You said all along you think Justice gets the nastiest pitches all the time.
Nobody gets pitched tougher than David Justice. It is unbelievable, the pitches that he sees that are on the black all day long. And he still finds a way to hit.
1-1. He had the big pinch hit home run.
Let's take a look at sorry, Tom. Take a look at the first pitch to Justice. Look at that nasty tailing fastball away out on the black. Justice didn't like it, but this is the first strike.
Keep an eye on Knobloch. Had 38 stolen bases during the regular season. Was thrown out 9 times. And that's what Seeley will do.
Of course, the guys in this lineup for the Yankees that can run: Jeter with 27 stolen bases, Knobloch with 38, Soriano, of course, 43. They will be trying to challenge Aaron Seeley here. And I notice I mentioned Seeley and not Wilson. Seeley with the big curveball, slow to the plate. They want to run on that pitch.
Knobloch leaning a little bit. Fastball misses away, and Seeley saying, oh, wait a minute now. That first pitch looked identical to that pitch. The first time a strike, this time a ball.
Seeley not close enough to argue. Watch what Aaron Seeley does to try to hold the runners. This is called a slide step. Just doesn't pick up the leg very far. Just heads straight to home plate without the big leg kick. That'll keep the runners a little closer.
He's trying that outside corner after he got the first call in this at-bat. The first pitch in this at-bat has not gotten the call since.
Well, and that's exactly what you should do. He got the first pitch away. That one might be a little lower than the first pitch that was called a strike, but Aaron Seeley's doing exactly what you should do. Try to establish yourself. Once you get a call, keep throwing it out there and keep hoping to get those calls. He's a little frustrated right now because he's saying, hey, you gave it to me the first time. Where's the next two?
Runner goes, and it's fouled away by Justice. We figure to see plenty of running in this series. These were the top two base-stealing teams in the American League. Both managers saying, and of course both managers spending either some of their playing career or some of their managerial careers in the National League. Both very much like the National League style of play. They'll use a hit and run, they'll bunt, they'll move runners over, and they will straight steal. Three-two to Justice. Knobloch runs. Ground ball. Diving play made by Olerud. He'll go to the bag. Knobloch advancing to second. That's a big play by Olerud.
John Olerud's going to be a big key to this series, both at the plate and defensively. Look how great of a job he does of coming off of the bag after holding Knobloch. Knobloch on the run. He got back to his position very, very well. Again, 1, 2, 3 steps and a hop to get back to that area. Very easy for a first baseman to get lazy, and just as the guy goes, you just take a step off the bag and say, now I'm playing first base. That's not playing first base.
Runner at second, and here's Bernie Williams. 4 hits and 18 at-bats during the division series against Oakland. Knocked in 5 runs. All 5 RBIs came in 1 game. Neither team hit during the division series with runners in scoring position. Obviously, they hit enough because they're playing today. But the Mariners hit 188 during the division series. The Yankees hit 211.
And that's as much a tribute to the great pitching that we've seen so far in the postseason as it is to anything else.
1-0. Very tight strike zone early on. That's something to keep an eye on. Again, Ed Montague behind the plate.
You know, and I think Aaron Seeley will now figure out that at that point on the first pitch that Montague called a strike and Justice had some words for him, I think Montague probably says to himself, I missed that call. So if you're going to keep going out there, I'm going to call it a ball now to let you know that, hey, I gave you one there. I'm not going to give you that pitch all night off the plate. Certainly don't blame Seeley for going back out there a few more times, but now he should realize I'm not going to get that one anymore.
Tried the breaking ball, smothered by Dan Wilson. 3 balls and no strikes. Bernie Williams has always delivered for the Yankees in the playoffs, especially in the league championship series. You see very good career numbers in 71 postseason games, but look at the numbers in the LCS.
That's why he's smiling so much. I'll tell you what, when you jump up and throw up numbers like that, when the pressure's on, when it's the biggest stage, when everyone's at the ballpark and when everyone's talking about you, and you come up and get it done, that's when you can call yourself a player.
3-0. Comes with a breaking ball in the 3-0 pitch, and Williams looks at a strike.
How about that? 3-0. Nasty breaker. This is the curveball we're talking about from Seeley. Big top to bottom break. Yeah, it's tough to pick out a place to hit that pitch.
Three-1 to Williams. And it's off the outside corner again, and it's ball 4 to Bernie Williams. The inning will continue to Tino Martinez. Seeley has outstanding control. At one point this season, he went 23 consecutive innings without allowing a walk. Only walked 51 batters in well over 215 innings on the year.
Celia has kind of come up with a new pitch this year. He's sinking the ball a lot more than he used to. He used to throw a lot more four-seamers, but he doesn't throw that hard. You know, low 90s at best. He was having trouble throwing the ball by guys. Now he's trying to sink the ball more and get some more ground balls.
How about the shadow, Steve? Sunlight to shadow. 4 American League clubs to hit 200 or more. So it's a major part of their attack. 2 on, 2 out. No score, first inning. A fastball on the inside edge, and it's 0-2.
You can't make a mistake to Tino, but because of the depth of the Yankee lineup, you got to pitch to somebody. Posada's behind him. O'Neill's after that. You might take your chances with Brocious, but to get to him in this inning, you got to let a run score.
Dino Martinez, a .304 lifetime hitter against Sealy. So the Seattle right-hander facing a guy who has been traditionally a very tough out against him. The 32-year-old out of Golden Valley, Minnesota, looking to survive the top of the first in ALCS Game 1, and he bounces a breaking ball. Nice stop by Wilson.
Dave, more importantly than the Mariners leading the American League in fielding percentage as a team defensively, it's the fact that they take away bases from the opposition. To lead the field defensively, all you got to do is catch the ball. But with Cameron going into the gap to make that terrific play, Olerud diving to catch the ball by Justice, and now Dan Wilson not letting those breaking balls get by him to allow the runners to advance.
1 and 2. They lead at first and second, and the pitch. 2-2.
One of the best umpires the last 20 years in baseball behind home plate, Ed Montague. His ears don't work during the game. He knows this crowd wanted to see that third strike called, but the ball was off the plate. One of the best, and in one of the biggest games of the year in the American League.
And a good pitcher's umpire. It's a wide strike zone. He keeps the game moving. A 2-2. That's in there for a called strike 3. He froze Martinez and struck him out. The Yankees strand 2. Boy, this place is buzzing. Safeco Field is electric for Game 1. 2 left. And despite a single and a walk, the Yankees do not break through. Seattle coming up. Ichiro about to hit for the first time in the ALCS. The Wizard, Ichiro Suzuki, has many fans on hand at Safeco Field, and many watching, I'm sure, back home in Japan. MasterCard brings you the starting lineup of Suzuki's Seattle Mariners. And a heartening story is Carlos Guillen, a young shortstop, back in the lineup, Rick, for the first time in 2.5 weeks after being diagnosed with tuberculosis.
Well, the whole game plan for Lou Piniella is for Ichiro to get on and Carlos Guillen to move him up into scoring position for either Brett Boone or Edgar Martinez to hopefully drive him in.
Ichiro leading the American League, hitting .350. And after a stunning regular season and spectacular division series against Cleveland, he sets his sights on a World Series stage after winning a Japanese record 7 consecutive batting titles. The soon-to-be-named American League Rookie of the Year led the league in hitting, hits, at-bats, steals, and he may add an MVP trophy to his hardware list. The 1-0 pitch trickled foul by Suzuki. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Just the electricity here reminds me of Ichiro when he led off the All-Star game for the American League against Randy Johnson, the big unit. Not intimidated then, and certainly not intimidated here. No knock on Andy Pettit. This guy just has a wonderful demeanor.
The left-hander up and in with a swifty under the chin of Suzuki. 2-1.
Speaking of meaner, that was meant to be. Trying to get him off the plate so that you can get him out on the outer half of the plate.
Ichiro certainly cast a spell over the Cleveland Indians in the division series with 12 hits, but he grounds out to Scott Brocious for out number 1. A 1-hopper to third. Guillen coming up next.
Take a look at what Andy Pettitte had in mind against Ichiro. He wanted to establish the inner half of the plate. He figured his velocity would be as good as it's going to get right here. Take a look at every pitch. Ichiro turning there. Now he stays within himself. All right, you're going to knock me off. Looking out over the plate. That ball was hit just like about 180 base hits for Ichiro during the regular season. If Brocious would have had to have gone 2 steps either way, Ichiro would have beat it out. Fortunately for New York, it was right at it.
And a standing ovation for Carlos Guillen, the 23-year-old out of Venezuela, who batted .259, 5 homers, 53 runs batted in during the season, and played a very steady shortstop, taking over when A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez, took the big contract to go to the Texas Rangers. So heartening indeed for the young man who, in the middle part of the summer, started to experience serious flu-like symptoms every day. They couldn't figure out what it was despite many tests. He had regular nosebleeds as part of the problem. They weren't sure what was causing that, but he said, you know, I'd come to the ballpark every day, take BP, I'd feel terrible until the game was about to start, and all of a sudden I felt ready to go because I wanted to play so badly. So he continued to play until finally, right at the end of the season, they diagnosed his problem as tuberculosis. He was quarantined, and he's been missing to the club for almost 3 weeks. Back in there for the first time today, and he fouls that one away to make it 1-2. On deck, Brett Boone, and then Edgar Martinez.
The last couple of days, they've had some of the guys that did not make the active roster for Seattle throw live simulated games to Carlos Guillen, but you still can't get the adrenaline and control it that you have here.
We lost about 10 pounds because of tuberculosis. Soriano handles that to Hopper. Over to Martinez. Let's give you a look at the rest of the New York Yankee defense. A lot of veterans sprinkled in there, of course.
Tino Martinez, first base, United States of America.
My name is Alfonso Soriano, second base for New York Yankees, and I'm from Dominican Republic.
I'm Scott Brocious, third baseman, USA.
Derek Jeter, shortstop, USA.
Chuck Knobloch, left field, USA.
Bernie Williams, center fielder, Puerto Rico.
Paul O'Neill, right field, United States of America.
Jorge Posada, catcher, Puerto Rico.
Pettitte's first pitch to Brett Boone in there for a strike. And the MVP candidate suffered through a terrible division series against Cleveland. That one dropped by Brocious, but along the line he recovers in time to get Boone. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Andy Pettitte. He gets them quickly in the home half of the first inning. So nothing doing for Seattle. Brocious jumping up and then mishandling it, but had plenty of time to get him. So that's all for Seattle. We've played one in ALCS game number 1. We have no score from Seattle. Top half of inning number 2 here is Jorge Posada, the Yankee catcher, leads things off against Aaron Seeley. 0-0 after 1. Dave O'Brien, Rick Sutcliffe from Safeco Field. And as you can see, Seeley has the advantage of pitching from sunshine into shade to the 6, 7, and 8 hitters in the Yankee lineup here in the second inning.
Last year during the divisional series, the Chicago White Sox needed some offense. They were tremendous all year, but they thought the sunshine into shade held down their offense as much as Seattle's pitching.
Posada lays off and it misses the corner. He hit .277 during the regular season with 22 home runs. He gives the Yankees pretty good pop out of the number 6 hole. But this has not been Posada's best playoff round traditionally. The league championship series, just a 150 hitter, going 6 for 40 in 14 ALCS games.
Well, I just don't know how he does it. He caught 138 games during the regular season. He's going to catch every game in the postseason. He's got to be tired.
Just high, and it's the second walk of the ball game issued by Seeley. Let's go back to that play where Brett Boone lined out, and it was dropped by Brocious over third base.
Well, you would think a third-generation baseball player, as is Brett Boone, would not make the mental mistake of not only playing second base, but playing umpire as well. Look at the frustration that sets in him right there. Immediately stop. Well, wait a minute now. You can't assume that play is going to be made. A good lesson for all young baseball players watching. It's only 90 feet down that first base line. You're only going to have to do it 3 or 4 times. Hustle at all times.
A 5.53 put out, and here's Paul O'Neill, another lefty slugger who hit 21 home runs during the season. And he slices a foul out of play. Already, Rick, 2 bases on balls from Seeley, who walked only 51 men in 215 innings during a regular season. We're seeing a little jitters here.
I think we're seeing a guy that got afraid of the bats, so to speak, when Chuck Knobloch lined his very first pitch of the afternoon for a base hit. He's starting to fall behind hitters. Fell behind Posada, and that's not been the key to Seeley's success. Normally a first pitch strike.
Posada leading at first base, and that's wide. 1 ball, 1 strike.
In fact, 64% of the time during the regular season, Aaron Seeley threw a first pitch strike. That was the 2nd best ratio in the American League, behind only Brad Radke of the Minnesota Twins.
Joe Torre likes to get movement on the bases. He likes to steal and hit and run and get his guys going.
And this is where he likes to do that with the bottom part of the lineup. Torre and Lou Piniella will say 1 through 5 or 6, I'm going to manage like an American League guy. I'll sit back and watch. 7, 8, and 9, I try to put the game in motion.
Paul O'Neill had a rugged first round against the Oakland A's. It actually wound up with him sitting the bench. In game 5, he went 1 for 11 against that A's staff, and an Oakland team many thought would knock off the Yankees and end their run. And of course, that's the way it started, with Oakland stunning the Yankees, taking games 1 and 2. Fouled out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes on O'Neill. Scott Brocious next.
Well, you just look at O'Neill physically and you think, how could anything be wrong with him? In tremendous shape on the outside. But last year, it was a right hip pointer that held him down the last month of the season and hurt him in the postseason. This year, it's been that left foot stress fracture.
Well, 38 years old, and yet he became the oldest man in Major League history to hit at least 20 homers and steal 20 bases in the same season. He stole 22 bases, and he's almost 40. He lunges after that one, hits it to left into the sun. Buhner fighting it, but makes the catch. 1 down. Major League Baseball International's presentation of the 2001 American League Championship Series is brought to you by MasterCard. There are some things in life that money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. That sun's going to be brutal today for the outfielders.
Buhner has not been out there a lot this year because of injuries, being on the disabled list, and particularly he's not been in left field throughout most of his career, playing right field, different angles. The ball comes at you and to you differently.
So that'll bring up Scott Brocious.
And this is where Joe Torre would like to get something going. Brocious really struggled during the divisional series. 0-59 against Oakland. Create some movement, maybe send the runner, get the defense moving. Maybe a ground ball that Brocious has been hitting will find a hole and get him going.
Scott, a good contact man, a 287 clip during the season. He pops this one up, though, along the right field line. Olerud moving toward the stands, but no room for him there. It only took about an hour for every seat to sell out for games 1 and 2 at Safeco Field when they went on sale right after the victory over Cleveland.
You really couldn't put ALCS tickets on sale in either one of these towns until the very last minute.
You're not kidding.
Both of these teams winning in game 5, both of those games going right down to the wire.
0-1 on Brocious, the 35-year-old from Hillsboro, Oregon. Pops it up on the infield, and moving into the shade, Brett Boone to make the catch. 2 away. So Seeley walked the leadoff man Posada, but he's been glued to first base ever since. And now he'll go after the number 9 hitter, the youngster Alfonso Soriano.
And what a talent Soriano is for the New York Yankees. That farm system coming up with another terrific young player. 18 homers, 73 RBIs, and you got to figure he didn't do that hitting 3rd, 4th, or 5th where those RBI situations come up more often.
23 years old, from the Dominican Republic, a native of San Pedro de Macorís, making his first foray into postseason play. It's just .222 against the A's. But as Rick pointed out, there's power, there's speed. He's also pretty good defensively. Came up as a shortstop, but that gig is out of his hands for quite a while. Softly line off the end of the bat, but it dunks into right field. Posada will pull up at second. Ichiro stumbles in right field. And usually ultra graceful Japanese right fielder lost his footing out there. Coming up with a base hit by Soriano.
Yeah, but the respect and his reputation as far as that throwing arm is concerned is the reason Posada didn't even think about going to third. I really thought Posada could have got there easily because the ball was blue. Ichiro was playing deep and in right center to keep the ball from getting through the gap. Look at Posada. There he's made up his mind. But right as he got to the bag, he goes, oh, wait a minute. Ichiro's out there. I've seen that rifle arm of his and how he can get the ball to third in a hurry. I better stay put.
Posada also generally thought to be the worst base runner on the Yankees. So another threat here in the second inning against Seeley. The Yankees put 2 on in the first inning, but didn't score. And here's Knobloch again. Now Seeley has tossed a first pitch strike to 7 of the first 9 hitters. He did that to Knobloch, but he raked a single into right center field his first time.
Well, Knobloch knows he's going to get good pitches to hit here because Seeley does not want to load the bases for Derek Jeter. This is Jeter's time of the year.
First and second, 2 out, and it's on the inside corner for strike. Jeter on deck. 0-0. Top of the second.
With these shadows, Dave, you can pick up the baseball out of the pitcher's hand, but you cannot pick up the rotation. And with Seeley getting that first pitch fastball by Knobloch, now he might be able to expand his zone with something with movement.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Here comes Aaron Seeley with that last pitch, that little breaking ball just off the outside corner, but Knobloch somehow able to hold off from swinging at it.
Posada at second. Soriano at first base. Seeley's 1-1 pitch. Down and in, 2-1.
He's just being a little bit too fine once he gets ahead in the count. There's a look at that graphic. He continues that trend here this afternoon, but he's not really, for the most part, putting anybody away. The only strikeout was Tino Martinez. Tino got caught looking on that backdoor breaking ball.
Again, Seeley trying to wriggle off the hook. That one hit sharply, knocked down by Bell on the dive. It's into foul ground. Here comes Posada. He's trying to score. The throw home won't get him. And the Yankees lead it 1-0. Bell deflected it with a terrific effort right behind third base, but it rolled too far away from him. Too deep into foul ground, and Posada, running with 2 down, was able to score.
There must be a lot of moisture out there that the players are having trouble getting used to, because Bell did the difficult part, which was to knock this ball down. It did not get far enough away from him for Posada to score, except for the fact he started spinning his wheels. He fell down again. And then give the third base coach for the Yankees a lot of credit. Willie Randolph had him going. He's sitting. He saw what was happening behind Posada's back. That's the only reason Posada continued to home and score.
So this inning, we've seen Ichiro take a tumble in right, and Bell have trouble with his footing off third base. And here's Jeter, and a huge at bat for the Yankee shortstop right away. 1-0 New York. And on the RBI hit, Knobloch scoots down to second. Soriano to third. So 2 men in scoring position for Jeter, who had a terrific series against the Oakland A's. We've talked about the spectacular defensive catches, but he also hit .444 in that series.
Well, there's a base open. The only problem is the guy in the on-deck circle has a lot of postseason home runs.
And hit Seeley really well. Outside, it's 2-0.
Take a look at Posada here. You got to go hard. Now he's looking at there. He decides to go because he hears the third base coach, Willie Randolph, saying, get going. Well, the Yankees just, there's so many ways they can beat you. Outstanding base coaches, outstanding bench coach in Don Zimmer, a tremendous pitching coach in Mel Stottlemyre. And how about the job Joe Torre has done since he has put on the pinstripes?
Well, it's been said so many times before. He is the perfect man for this team. You were talking about Lou Piniella and how loose he has kept the Seattle clubhouse here the last couple of days leading up to this series. Don Zimmer's a guy who can keep you loose. Guy you played for. The 2-0 pitch. Jeter takes it. Good eye, and he followed it all the way back into Wilson's mitt. It's 3-0. Sealy already up to 39 pitches.
And every one of them is either on the corner or just off. Getting started with a walk to Posada. Sealy's being too fine.
Jeter taking 3-1.
You got to challenge somebody, and when you look up and down this lineup, I mean, flip a coin. I mean, they can all beat you. Don't give them an opportunity to beat you with men on base, as Sealy has done in both innings.
Jeter a .318 lifetime average against Aaron Sealy. 2 on and a hitter's count. Here's the 3-1. Popped him up into right. Boone goes back, calls off Ichiro, and makes the grab. So Sealy allows only 1 run. An RBI single by Chuck Knobloch, despite the diving effort by Bell at third base. That RBI gives the Yankees a 1-0 lead after an inning and a half at Safeco Field. Here are the men in blue at Safeco Field for Game 1 of the American League Championship Series. We talked about the veteran Eddie Montague, the crew chief, behind the plate. Wally Bell at first base. Gary Cederstrom makes the calls at second. Charlie Relaford at third base. And you have 2 umpires along the left and right field lines, John Shulock and Tim Welke, 2 extra umps for postseason play. To keep an eye on those chalk balls along the right and left field foul lines.
You'd almost like to have 4 extra umpires in this series because these teams are just so evenly matched.
Edgar Martinez with fans in every corner of the globe. He has been dubbed the best designated hitter of all time. But he's flat been one of the game's great all-around hitters, period, for about a decade now.
He's the only reason that I'm somewhat in favor of the designated hitter, because without it, we would have never known Edgar Martinez. Not only what a great player he is, but what a tremendous person he is as well.
You said he basically sent you into retirement, didn't he?
The last 2 years, I could not get him out. I had nothing to get by him. I hit him. I threw sliders into none of it worked. Every time I threw anything near the zone, he knocked one of my infielders or outfielders down.
Rick, you're not admitting to hitting him on purpose, are you?
No, well, I guess I can now. They can't suspend me anymore. He's just, oh, what a hitter.
Inside, and the count is 1-2. Martinez entered 2001, a .320 career hitter, 2-time American League batting champ. And while the Randy Johnson, Ken Griffey Jr., Alex Rodriguez eras came and went, Edgar stayed. He swings and misses, and down he goes. Pettit claiming his first strikeout. 1 gone in the second inning. Let's give you a look at the dimensions around Safeco Field, which opened for business in 1999, the middle of the summer of the '99 campaign, and has been a raging success here in the Northwest.
And I'll never forget Ken Griffey Jr.'s first at bat here. Everyone was wondering who's going to hit the first homer at Safeco Field. Well, it should obviously be Ken Griffey Jr. He stepped the plate in the first inning, and he hit a bomb to left center field. Would have been well out of the Kingdome, which was just across the street. The crowd went crazy. There it is, the homer. Well, guess what? It was caught at the warning track. And at that point, I think everybody knew Ken Griffey Jr. would be moving on.
It sent some murmurs through the crowd. If Jr. couldn't hit it out, it's certainly a pitcher's park. But Mike Cameron, on the topic of Ken Griffey Jr., the man who replaced him in center field, has found the dimensions to his liking. You see 25 home runs and 110 RBIs for the talented Cameron. The last player picked for the American League All-Star team by Joe Torre, who found out what a wise choice that was about a month later when Cameron scorched the Yankees for 8 RBIs in a game in August. 3-0. Pettit misses with number 4. So the Mariners have their first base runner against the New York left-hander.
Cameron with a .355 average against Andy Pettit, and he was very careful in that at bat, even on the 3-0 pitch. He has had success against John Olerud in the past. Olerud just .222 in his career, but always a contact type guy and an opportunity for Lou Piniella to put the game in motion.
Well, Cameron with 34 stolen bases in his career, just about an 80% success rate.
You're not going to be 80% against Andy Pettit. This is as good a pickoff move as there is in baseball. Such good balance on that mound for Andy Pettit. He can pick that leg up, and before it's all the way up, he can change his mind. If he sees the runner go, he can change his body in the direction of first base.
And again, at least for now, there's some sunshine right at Pettit's back, so when he delivers the pitch, it comes from sun into shade. In an inning or two, however, the batter and the pitcher will be on equal footing. There'll be no more sunshine across the pitcher's mound. Cameron not getting a big lead. 1 down and taken by Olerud, a very patient hitter. This is one guy you have to throw strikes to.
Wonderful on-base percentage this year of over 400. Take a look at what the hitter has to see. There's a baseball coming out of the sun. Now where'd it go? You could see how dark that white baseball got as it was on its way to home plate.
The 2-0 is punch foul. 2-1. Olerud with 21 homers during the season, 95 runs batted in. He had some issues with southpaws this year, and again, another look.
Take a look at what happens here, okay? Now the ball's coming out of the sun. You can see it there. Now look at the rotation there. You have no idea what that baseball is doing. Is it spinning away from you? Is it coming into you? Or is it a full four-seam fastball, as that last one was, which Olerud was behind?
Cameron not running. Grounded towards Soriano. Up with it. High throw. Out at second. Back to first for the double play. Olerud does not run well, to put it kindly, and a 4-6-3 twin killing ends the inning. So Pettit gets the ground ball he needed.
He had a good pitch to hit before that. He missed that. Then Pettit made his pitch, even though Jeter was pulled off. This is Derek Jeter's time of year. He knew what he had to do, and he got it done.
The New York Yankees bidding for a 4th consecutive world title with a 1-0 lead after the first 2 innings of ALCS game number 1. Where can you find the latest stats and participate in live chats? At MLB.com, the place for live game audio and video highlights, player profiles, historical facts, and updated scores. Catch all the latest baseball news on all 30 MLB teams and shop for authentic Major League clothing online. Drop us an email with your questions about the game at tvquestions@website.mlb.com. Going to be answering some of those emails as well throughout the series. We especially enjoy hearing from our brave servicemen and women serving overseas. Very proud of you. Keep up the great work, and thanks for tuning in. David Justice starting the 3rd inning here, 1-0 New York on an RBI single by Chuck Knobloch in the 2nd inning. That drove in Jorge Posada. Cranking to right field, right along the line, but it hooks foul. Home run distance. He hit the daylights out of it. Justice just missing one. It's a noisy strike. 1-2.
Well, Aaron Seeley really needs to settle down. He has seen the New York Yankees in his season the last 3 years in the postseason. And the reason he's struggling here this afternoon, he cannot get the leadoff hitter out. Knobloch got on with a base hit in the 1st. Very fortunate he didn't score. Posada walked in the 2nd and eventually did touch home plate.
3 hits for the Yankees. They have stranded 4 base runners, so they've had chances to pile on more runs.
Well, it just makes everybody uneasy. This crowd really wanting to get back into the game, but with New York continuing to put the pressure on offensively, the crowd can't do anything, and you feel that pressure offensively when Seattle comes to bat.
The 1-2 pitch down into the dirt. No case of the jitters for Justice. He is playing in his 8th league championship series. So this is old hat for David. 4 of them with Atlanta, 2 with Cleveland, and 2 with the Yankees.
Everybody but Piniella feeling that pressure. If he does, he never shows it.
High fly the other way. And again, Buhner coming in now, battling the sunshine, but makes the grab for the out. 1 gone.
Well, if you have no idea why Jay Buhner is struggling like he is on those fly balls, just walk outside during the day and throw a tennis ball up into the sun and wait on it to come out of it. That's what Buhner's doing. He's got the glasses on. He throws the glove up to shade the sun, waiting on the baseball to come out one way or another. And when it does, then it becomes easy.
The sunshine peering over the top of the roof at Jay Buhner, who only played in 19 games during the regular season because of a foot injury and surgery. Bernie Williams taking a strike. So again, Seeley having success getting in front of the Yankee hitters. Putting them away has been another matter. He walked his first time up. 1 ball and 1 strike. Now the National League Championship Series continues in Arizona after an otherworldly performance by the big unit, the former Seattle Mariner ace, Randy Johnson.
Well, he took a big monkey off his back.
His first playoff win after losing 7 decisions, beating Maddox and the Braves 2-0. And so the Arizona Diamondbacks have a 1-0 lead in that best-of-7 NLCS.
Well, that's what needs to happen for Aaron Seeley. He needs that monkey off his back with a victory in the postseason.
Right through there at the knees, 2-2.
He was 0-1 in '98 against the Yankees with Texas in the divisional series. Take a look. He's getting some help with the conditions here. Coming out of the sun. Now, what's it doing? Well, Bernie Williams had no idea. He took it. Ed Montague knew what it was and made the call.
Trying to ring up his 2nd strikeout, but he fills up the count 3-2. He's already walked 2 men today, which is not like Seeley.
Well, everything's just so difficult for him here. Lou Piniella yanked him after 2 innings in that ball game against Cleveland because he didn't like what he saw. He can't like what he's seeing right now either.
Base is empty, 1 out, and now Williams steps out. The other thing that Seeley probably has spinning around in the back of his mind right now is the fact that he hardly ever gets run support in the playoffs. He strikes out Bernie Williams, who looked very unsure on that swing. Kind of herky-jerky.
Well, this is his problem so far this afternoon. He's not commanding the fastball. He finally gets command of it here with the 3-2 count. Even though the ball was elevated a little bit, it was on the outer half of the plate. Just continue to do that. With the defense you have behind you and the dimensions here at Safeco, it's hard to hit the ball out of the park to the opposite field.
He whiffs Williams. Tino Martinez struck out looking in the first inning. It's 0-1. Certainly using that sunshine just behind him to his advantage in this inning. Rolled foul, and he jumps in front of Tino. 0-2.
Here it comes. This is what you've got to look at. That big downward angle that Seeley's able to create. Now where did the baseball go? You cannot pick up the rotation. You will be as this day progresses, but right now very difficult to hit.
The 2-strike pitch bounced up there, deflected off Wilson. The amazing stat on Seeley. His career run support during the regular season is the highest of any pitcher over the last 50 years who has 200 starts or more. But in 5 postseason starts, a 1.2 runs per game average for Seeley. And that's the lowest run support for any pitcher in 50 years in the playoffs. How about that?
Well, it's an amazing statistic, but the reason for that is that you don't have blowout games in the postseason very often. Most of the time you're bringing in a quality pitcher to follow the other one. During the regular season, well, you might bring in an infielder to pitch an inning or 2 and create a lot of runs.
1-2 pitch is ripped but foul.
See, but even that, I mean, this crowd's wanting to get into it. Give them something to explode for, and thus far Seeley has not been able to do that. Justice, the first hitter in this inning, just missed hitting a home run. Bernie went to a 3-2 count before finally making it out. There was another hard hit ball by New York.
In there for called strike 3. So he does give them something to scream and shout about finally. He punches out Martinez for the second time, admiring the pitch. And for Aaron Seeley, something he desperately needed, a 1-2-3 inning, his first of the game. He retires the defending world champs in 1-2-3 fashion, but New York still leads it 1-0. Some 43,000 shoehorned into Safeco Field in Seattle. Dave O'Brien, Rick Sutcliffe with you. Thanks so much for joining us. Wherever you're watching from around the world today, it is 1-0 New York. We're about to bring you the home half of the third inning. And the Mariners to bring up the veteran Jay Buhner and Dan Wilson and David Bell. The bottom three coming up against Andy Pettitte. Rick, you made the point early in the telecast that it may not be the Brett Boones, the Edgar Martinezes, the Ichiros, or David Justice, Derek Jeter, or Tino Martinez that decide this series offensively, but the bottom three in either order.
And in particular, what the managers do with those bottom three. The hit and runs they put on, whether they succeed or they fail. If Piniella puts on a hit and run, will Torrey pitch out to counter that? I think these teams are so close talent-wise that the difference is going to come down to 7, 8, and 9 in this series. The managers are so good, but what they can do in a close ball game with the bottom of the lineup could be it.
Buhner swings right through that one and strikes out. The second K in the book for Andy Pettitte.
Very seldom will Lou Piniella manage with his heart, but I think part of the reason for Buhner in the lineup today is his heart. He knows what Buhner has meant, not only to this team and this organization, but to this city as well. Jay's going to go up there 3 or 4 times, take 3 big hacks each at bat, and if he runs into one, well, it would have worked for Piniella. If he doesn't, as he did in there, well, it might not have been the right decision.
The man they call Bone, he has been a Seattle Mariner since the '98 season. Although he broke in with the New York Yankees. Here's Dan Wilson, the catcher. Wilson hit .265 hitter during the season.
Yankees don't make many mistakes, but letting Buhner go certainly had to be one of them.
Over 300 career home runs. That's over but low for a ball. On deck, David Bell. Head-to-head this season, Seattle took 6 out of 9 from the New York Yankees. The Mariners did not lose. Deep fly to center field, chasing back Williams all the way to the track to reach up and make the catch. Wilson sent it for a ride almost 400 feet from the plate before Bernie ran it down, and there are 2 gone.
Well, it was a good piece of hitting, but it wasn't a very smart piece of hitting. If you're going to try somebody, you might try Paul O'Neill, who's playing at less than 100%. You might try Chuck Knobloch, who's still an experiment in progress out there in left field. Bernie Williams, he's got some gold gloves on his mantle, and he shows you why.
The 33-year-old from San Juan, Puerto Rico, who at the age of 15 was a teenage track star and a 400-meter specialist. He can go and get it still. Two-way bases empty for David Bell. He checks in as a .260 hitter during the regular season. Checked his swing there, got a piece of it.
I think that's the biggest difference I've seen in the 2 starters today. Pettitte not afraid to come in and knock people down. He started right off the bat with Ichiro. Look at the location on this pitch. I mean, David Bell thought that was going to hit him in the arm. That ball was up, in, with something on it. Seeley has not done that as of yet.
The 0-2 misses. Bell, one of 2 men in the Mariner infield, Brett Boone being the other, who are 3rd-generation major leaguers. Bell's grandfather, Gus, and of course his dad, Buddy, were excellent defensive players, as is David. Only 14 errors during the season. Very solid over there. He lobs a foul to hang in there. 1-2.
Pettitte pitching with his normal rest. Even though in the 7th inning, Joe Torre of Game 5 against Oakland had Pettitte and Mussina up and throwing in the bullpen. If they could possibly help him get through 7. He knew he had Mariano Rivera for 8 and 9, but Mendoza was able to get that last out. Pettit able to start this afternoon.
Did he check? He held up, according to Wally Bell, to count 2-2. Boy, what an effort by Mussina. Game 3 with the Yankees flat up against it and facing elimination at the hands of the Oakland A's.
They can say what they want about Posada's homer and Jeter's play. Those 21 outs that Mussina got were huge against that great offense with that big crowd.
Moose to work in game 2. Gently hit on the infield. And Martinez to underhand flip to Pettit for out number 3. So Pettit still in command. He's got himself a 1-0 lead as we moved on to the 4th inning.